Hello, welcome to Papa Nick's Music. I am, as always, your host, Papa Nick Lewis. And this week we are starting another series where I'm going to talk about movies for a while. A while back, I don't know, a couple months, sometime there in the not too distant past, I did a series of videos about my favorite actors. Well, this time I'm going to do my favorite directors. I am a huge fan of movies. I love movies. I watch a lot of movies. I have in my library here at the house, if you count up the DVDs, the Blu-rays, the VHS cassettes, because I still have, a handful of movies that were released on VHS that have never been released digitally. Movies that I have, that I've downloaded, that I've bought digitally. You add all of that up, I've got about 1,500 titles in my library here at the house. And so I watch a lot of movies. It's one of the things I do with my downtime. And I love watching these movies. But as I was saying when I was doing my actor videos, I don't really pay attention to like the qualities of the movie, right? I'm not a cinema nerd or anything like that. I just like watching movies. I like popcorn movies, right? I am primarily drawn to the story. If there's a good story and it's well told, then I am happy. I don't care what the production values are. After the story, I am drawn to the acting, and after the acting, I'm drawn to some features that I just happen to be able to be aware of and keep track of. I pay attention to the use of music. I pay attention to set design and costume design. I pay attention to Foley work. Oh my God, I'm a huge fan of a good Foley artist. One of these days, I'm going to do my top 10 favorite footsteps in a movie. Because don't you think for even a minute I can't do that. So I am aware of the components of movie making, but I don't approach a movie thinking, oh, this movie was directed by this person, therefore I'm going to love it, right? I know that the director is making the majority of the decisions that ultimately lead to the things that I am noticing and the things that I'm aware of. But I just tend not to be thinking about that while I'm watching the movie, okay? So this is not... Like I said, I'm not a cinema nerd. This is not, no. I am not a film critic by any stretch of the imagination, so don't go there. Also, as I briefly mentioned earlier, I like popcorn movies. I like escapism rather than art. I do not care for art house movies. I don't want to watch the disintegration of a relationship or anything like that. I like genre movies. I like action and adventure. I like comedies. I like horror movies. I like science fiction. I like fantasy. I like mysteries, right? I like good stories, right? And I'm pointing all this out so that you will know as we go through these director videos that I'm going to be doing over the next couple of weeks, you know where I'm coming from, okay? As with my actor videos, I started that with 10 actors that I despise, which is unusual for me because I don't normally focus on the negative. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to talk about 10 directors this week that I just don't get. Now, I want to be clear from the get-go. I am not saying these are bad directors, okay? I'm saying I don't get it. I don't see in their movies what everybody else is seeing, right? Should be fun. Not saying they're bad directors, so don't go there. If you leave a comment, which I strongly encourage, just remember, I'm not saying these are bad directors. Now, before we get into the top 10, though, we have to talk about the subjectivity notice. We firmly believe here at Papa Nick's Music that there's no such thing as objectively good or objectively bad art. There is only art that we like and art that we do not. And as long as we keep that in mind, this is a wonderful conversation. It's interesting, it's fun, it's informative. It is our chance to see the world from somebody else's perspective, and I would argue that is always a good thing. However, the conversation goes right down the toilet the moment somebody insists on being seen as objectively right. So, Be aware as I'm going through this, I am not making any objective claims here. Obviously, I'm not, because I don't think they can be made. If you would refrain from using objective framework in your comments, I would appreciate it. Thank you. Now, let's get into this. This is a top 10 video. I'm shoehorning this into a top 10 format, and it gives me an opportunity to once again talk about how Papa Nick's Music's Top 10 series is unofficially sponsored by Schöfferhofer Beer. If you like grapefruit beer, oh, you're going to love Schöfferhofer. That's good beer. Now, okay, let's talk criteria. In order for a director to be included on any of these lists that I'm going to be giving you over the next couple, 3 weeks, that I really only have one criterion, and that criterion is that I have to have seen at least 3 movies that director has made. I don't want to give anybody too much credit if they only had one, and I don't want to bash directors if I haven't seen their work, right? So 3, I thought that was a good minimum to work from. Once I made that decision, rather than going through my library, I don't have it it is not arranged in such a way that it is easy for me to peruse for something like, okay, who directed all of these things? So what I did, just as a way to kick the process off, did a quick search for the greatest directors, right? You do a Google search for the 10 greatest directors, the 50 greatest directors, the 100 greatest directors, right? You go to imdb.com, 100 greatest directors, right? You can find these lists. They're all over the place. And I found a couple, 3 of these lists just to compare them, just to give me a sense of what the basic gist is in terms of critical recognition of directors. I knew from the get-go that I wanted to start with directors that I just don't get, and I knew that I had like 3 or 4 of these directors that I wanted to talk about, but I wanted to flesh out the list. So it made sense to me to start with, okay, so who has the critical acclaim, and then look through that to see who are the ones that I just don't get. Okay? A lot of words there, and I'm not sure there's a whole lot of reason for doing it. Oh well. So here are my top 10 directors that I just don't get. As with my actors that I don't like, I'm starting with a tie at 10th place, the number 10 slot here. And this is a tie among directors that I just don't get, who I also think are not good people. So it's not just that I don't see why they get this reputation based on the work that they've done. I also and I've got 2 people here. I originally had Bryan Singer on here, but I had to take Bryan Singer out, even though I think he is probably a not very nice person, because I actually like most of his movies. He's got one turd in there, and that's Superman Returns, which was, oh my God, was that a boring movie. But I eventually took him off. I don't want to pound on him just because he's a bad person, even though that is what I've ended up doing. So officially, I've got a tie here at 10th spot between Roman Polanski and Woody Allen. As far as Roman Polanski goes, the frustrating thing is that Chinatown is one of my absolute favorite movies. I love Chinatown. I watch it probably, 3-4 times a year. I adore that movie. That's the only movie of Polanski's that I like, though. So, and I've seen like 4 or 5 of them. And when it comes to Woody Allen, I've got no problem. He would have made this list anyway, because I've seen a few Woody Allen movies. Mostly I saw earlier comedies, Take the Money and Run, Bananas, stuff like that. And I never thought his comedies were all that funny. And so a comic filmmaker who branches into drama, well, if they can't do the comedy well, then I'm not going to trust them to do the drama well. And then if we also find out that, okay, there's enough allegations there that we might be a little bit... So, okay, yeah, I'm tying in with Roman Polanski here at my number 10 spot. So at number 10, I've got Roman Polanski and Woody Allen in a tie. Okay, number 9. Excuse me. I will admit, I went through that discussion earlier about looking at a bunch of different lists because what I have quickly come to realize is I don't always have a sense of who is considered good or not. I know there are some obvious names that are considered good, and there are some obvious names who are considered not that good. I know enough to know that if your movie was directed by Alan Smithy, that's a bad sign. Um, but I was surprised by some of the names that cropped up. Specifically, I was surprised by my number 9 here. On every list that I looked at, if it had 20 or more names on it, Michael Mann was one of the listed names. I've seen a few of his movies. The movie of his that I've seen that I liked the most was probably Collateral, and I didn't think Collateral was all that good. I mean, it was okay. It's not like 2 hours of my life I'm not getting back. I didn't feel like that about it. But I've also seen like Thief, The Insider, Public Enemies, and none of these were any good. I do not. I don't get with Michael Mann. I don't get why he would be included on these lists, and I'm trusting that he's included on these lists for a reason. But he's the true mystery on my top 10 here, which is why he's at number 9. Okay, at number 8. I had seen a few Sam Peckinpah movies earlier in my life, in my youth, but it was quite some time before I saw The Wild Bunch, and I was excited to see The Wild Bunch because I mentioned earlier, I like popcorn movies, I like genre movies, I like a good Western, and The Wild Bunch is supposed to be a good classic Western, and no, no, it's not. I don't get Sam Peckinpah. I don't get why he's got any sort of reputation for being, cutting edge or, I'm trying to avoid saying I don't think he's a good director because I've gone through all of the effort that I've gone through to say that I'm not saying they're bad directors. I just don't get it. But a lot of people praise Sam Peckinpah for his gritty realism, and I don't get it. His movies are largely boring. So, number 8, Sam Peckinpah. Number 7 is a director who started out strong. I saw his first couple of movies, and I thought they were, oh my God, fantastic. And then he released a stinker. But then he released probably his best movie, and then started cranking out the stinkers. And he's been cranking out stinkers ever since. My number 7 is James Cameron. I don't get why James Cameron has the reputation he's got. Yes, he has made some really good movies. The Terminator. Oh, that is a fantastic movie. Aliens. Fantastic movie. Terminator 2 is, I would say, the best movie that he has done. I think it's head and shoulders above both Terminator and Aliens. But he also cranked out The Abyss. And, I mean, I love Ed Harris, but Ed Harris can't even save The Abyss. Titanic. Oh my God, talk about 2 hours of my life I'm not getting back. Avatar. I have absolutely no desire to see the 2 Avatar sequels that he's released in, however the hell long it's been since he's released them. Just because Avatar itself was not that good, for lack of a better word. I don't understand why James Cameron has the reputation he has. I don't get it. Coming in at number 6. Okay, before I get to number 6. That's good beer. Coming in at number 6 is, of all of the names on this list, this was the one I was most surprised by. Because I'm looking at these lists, looking at list after list after list after list after list. And I kept seeing this name pop up, and I didn't recognize the name. And then I looked at, who is this person? I mean, I dimly recognized the name. It's not, it's not like I'd never heard it before, but I couldn't associate it with any movies. But then I looked at his filmography and I realized that I've actually seen several of his movies. My number 6 is David Fincher. And I have seen Alien 3, god awful alien movie. I have seen 7, which I thought was. I've seen The Game. I've seen The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. The Social Network. Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. Yeah. And so I was surprised once I looked up the filmography and realized, oh, this is that guy. And he's on this list of great directors where he's just cranked out movie that I don't get after movie that I don't get after movie that I don't get. I do not understand why we would be putting David Fincher on a list of even the 100 greatest directors. No. Number 6, David Fincher. Number 5. Okay, now we're getting into when I first started thinking about doing this video. I wasn't originally going to do it as a top 10. I was just going to make the point that there are certain directors who have a significant level of acclaim that I have never understood. It was when I started, doing a little bit of reading, trying to get a sense of, who is critically acclaimed and who isn't, that I found the other names and thought, okay, yeah, I can actually go ahead and do a full top 10 on this. But from 5 on, these are originally, I was just going to talk about these guys, okay? At number 5, we have Oliver Stone. And I have never understood the appeal that Oliver Stone has. I've seen Platoon, I've seen JFK, I've seen Born on the 4th of July, I've seen Natural Born Killers, and for me, that's 4 strikes, he's out, because there were some genuinely tense moments in Platoon, but overall, JFK, God, that was what, 7 days long? I mean, that was a whopper of a movie to sit through, and so I don't get why Oliver Stone has the level of acclaim that he has. I just don't get it. I don't get Oliver Stone. And just like I don't get Oliver Stone, I don't get my number 4. I don't understand the appeal for Robert Altman's movies. I've seen a handful. Gosford Park, I thought that was a decent movie. That one was okay. But MASH? I mean, MASH wasn't a bad movie, but it wasn't a particularly good one either. Especially when you compare it to the TV series, which was better made, I would argue. The photography is better. The dialogue is easier to understand, and if I would be willing to forgive that, because okay, MASH wasn't that great of a movie. Popeye was, a waste of effort, but okay, fine. Gosford Park was at least okay, and he wouldn't have even made the list. But Robert Altman actually made a version of The Long Goodbye that is just a crime against humanity. He cast Elliot Gould in it, and I've got nothing against Elliot Gould, but man, the performance he gives in that movie is just god awful. The movie itself is god awful. I do not get Robert Altman. Now, coming in at number 3. These top 3, I don't think there's anybody out there who hears me say I don't get Robert Altman and immediately sits down to write a poison pen letter. Okay? I don't think that's going to happen. But I think these top 3 are going to get people throwing stuff at their computer screens. Number 3, I don't understand the big fuss about Stanley Kubrick. Yeah, Spartacus. Oh, that's a classic. 2001: A Space Odyssey. That's a good movie. Haven't seen any any other Stanley Kubrick movies that I think that's a good movie. I mean, The Shining. I mean, oh no, Full Metal Jacket. Vincent D'Onofrio, wonderful, but the movie as a whole, no. Doctor Strangelove. Just to show you how far outside the norm I am, I don't think Doctor Strangelove is all that good of a movie. The thing that I have watched Doctor Strangelove a couple of times, and there are moments in there that I very deeply appreciate, but those moments are entirely Peter Sellers. Okay? And Peter Sellers, as I understand it, ad-libbed much of his dialogue, so this was not stuff that Kubrick co-wrote for him. I think Peter Sellers does a brilliant, has brilliant performance in Doctor Strangelove. But you take that element out, look at the rest of it, and it is clumsy, ham-fisted satire. I mean, the president's name is Merkin Muffley. Are you fucking kidding me, man? You have some pride in your craft. Try to develop at least a slight, velvet touch with your satire. Movie has all the subtlety of a ball-peen hammer directly to the temple. I do not get why Doctor Strangelove is held up as, the all-time classic that it is, because it's, I think, largely sophomoric. So, I don't get Stanley Kubrick. My number 2 that I don't get. Okay, bad enough that I'm pissing on Stanley Kubrick. Now I'm going to piss on Francis Ford Coppola. Oh man, I put off watching The Godfather for many, many, many years because I had seen other Coppola movies. I had seen Apocalypse Now. I had seen Bram Stoker's Dracula. I had seen The Conversation, more on that in a bit. And so I was hesitant. I am really hesitant to watch The Godfather. I did not, I came to The Godfather very late, as you can tell, because I saw Bram Stoker's Dracula before I saw The Godfather. But I was putting it off because I had yet to see anything that Coppola had made that I thought was decent, that I thought was interesting or entertaining or worth sitting there watching. But I finally bit the bullet here probably, 7-8 years ago. And I watched The Godfather. And then I gave myself a little time to recover, and I watched The Godfather Part 2. And I gave myself a little time to recover, and I never could convince myself to watch The Godfather Part 3. Because I didn't see why anybody would like The Godfather or The Godfather Part 2. I know, they're American classics. And I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't think the Godfather specifically, I don't think The Godfather is particularly well made. It just looks to me, and maybe I just saw a bad, print of it, a bad version of it. But it looked like it was filmed with like a toy camera, and the sound was murky, and the colors were. It was. And I do not understand the obsession so many people have with gangster movies. I don't understand why, Martin Scorsese can bitch about Marvel Cinematic Universe movies not being cinematic, not being true cinema, because they are dedicated to genre rather than elevating the human condition, and yet he's made his career making fucking gangster movies, which is just a different kind of superhero movie. So I don't get the whole obsession with gangster movies in the first place. There are a few gangster movies that I've watched that I've liked, but The Departed would be Goodfellas. Yeah, Scorsese did it right a couple of times. But The Godfather, oh no. There's no need for me to watch this again. I've seen the movie, so now I know the cultural references, and that's good enough, because between you, me, and the lamppost, I just don't get Francis Ford Coppola. I will say, just you know, cherry on the sundae here. Um, the movie of his that I thought was the most entertaining was actually The Rainmaker, and that I would say was a good average movie. It is a genre movie, right? It's a legal thriller, yeah. And hey, that's now I like that. I like that sort of thing. But by the standards of legal thrillers, it was boring as hell. He took a what I assume in John Grisham's novel was a tense thriller and turned it into uh, an amiable stroll through a park. Uh, don't get it. I said I would get back to the conversation. The conversation is one of those movies that every 2 or 3 years or so, I sit down and watch it again. I think I've seen this thing like 5 or 6 times, and I keep thinking that it's going to click, that I'm going to get it, I'm going to understand it, because everybody loves the conversation. Everybody that I've ever talked about movies with, they love the conversation, and I should love it as well. It's a thriller, right? It's a political thriller, and I love that kind of stuff. It's got Gene Hackman, for God's sake. Gene Hackman, one of my favorite actors. I should love the conversation. But it's mostly just 2 hours of watching Gene Hackman making constipated faces, watching Alan Garfield do one of the most embarrassingly bad acting jobs I've seen in a single film. Oh, I do not get the conversation. I do not get The Godfather. I do not get Francis Ford Coppola. But my number one. That's good beer. I do not get Quentin Tarantino. I don't. I've seen 4 of his movies. I've seen Pulp Fiction. I've seen Inglourious Basterds. I've seen Django Unchained. And I've seen The Hateful Eight. And I have seen each of those 4 movies one time. And I have no desire to see them again. I will never understand why everybody loves Quentin Tarantino. There are occasional bits in the movies that are nice. In Brad Pitt's line in Inglourious Basterds, we're in the Nazi killing business, and business is booming. Oh, that was a nice little bit. Christoph Waltz has a nice little bit at the beginning. But nice little bits don't make a good movie. They make nice little bits. The whole movie, no. Pulp Fiction is... I don't get it. I know people who think it is not just a great movie, it is the great movie. And I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't see it. I don't see what y'all are seeing when you're looking at these things. Each of the movies, I saw Pulp Fiction because I had heard it was so good. I saw Inglourious. I don't even remember why I saw Inglourious Basterds. It was like a last minute decision. I don't know if the movie I wanted to go to actually wasn't playing, so I went to Inglourious Basterds instead, or it was something like that. The Hateful Eight I went to go see because I knew it had actors that I liked in it. It had Kurt Russell in it. It's got Walton Goggins in it, right? So I'm thinking, okay, we've got actors that I really like. Maybe they will elevate it, and just another Quentin Tarantino movie. So Quentin Tarantino's movies, on the whole, don't do anything for me. I don't think they're bad movies. I don't think they're incompetently made or anything like that. They just aren't good, right? They don't speak to me. I don't connect to them. At no point when I'm watching the movie do I think to myself, I'm glad I'm watching this movie. All right? So, send me your hate mail down below. But those are the 10 directors that I just don't get. Again, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying some of their movies are bad. I'm happy to say that. I'm not saying that they are bad directors. Obviously, they're not bad directors because they have a lot of people out there saying they are really great directors. So, I mean, But I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand why they get the acclaim that they get. I don't understand why they get the respect, the plaudits, the elevated status that they get. So, I'm interested to see what the comments look like this week. But that's what I've been thinking about this week. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think that I'm a complete fucking idiot for not liking Quentin Tarantino? Drop that comment down below. I always love hearing from you. Just remember, it's all subjective. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you'd go down and click the like button. And while you're down there clicking, if you have not already done so, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it means the world to me, so I very much appreciate it. Thanks again for hanging around with me today, and I hope that the rest of your day is playful. See you soon.